Hey, welcome back to my channel Duct Tape Mechanic and to another episode of my series Free on Facebook, in which I repair, reuse, or recycle things I find for free on Facebook Marketplace. In this video, we're going to be repairing this Whirlpool direct drive washer that has a broken timer. And the way we're going to be doing it is we're going to be swapping to an entire new console. So that's going to be a unique fix. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more DIY and tinkering videos. So if you follow my channel, you know that I really like these older style washers. These are called direct drive washers. And here's one that I picked up for free, hence why it's on my series Free on Facebook. But the issue the owner said it had is that the timer would get stuck and you would just hear a clicking noise. So that seems to me that there's an issue with the gears inside the timer. Unfortunately, the owner thought they could fix it as well, so they kind of pried it open and they got everything duct taped closed. This is what they gave me with the washer. I don't think, I mean, you can see that even parts of this are damaged, but I mean, I don't want to go out and try to fix this thing and be missing various springs and stuff and just waste a whole bunch of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to swap out the entire, sorry about that noise, I'm going to attempt to swap out the entire console. I had this console was from another washer I had picked up a while back that had a bad motor. So what I did was I parted it out and I took the parts that I couldn't use to the recycling center. So here's a good opportunity for us to use this part and hopefully have a functioning washer. The good part about this is that it's Whirlpool to Whirlpool, and so it's not like I'm replacing a Whirlpool with a Kenmore, which is manufactured by Whirlpool. But anyways, to do this, I'm gonna take off this console, and it's already kind of opened up because the previous owner took off the timer. But if we open this up, I'll kind of walk through the game plan. So even though this appears to be from a newer style washer because it's in better condition and just the way it looks newer, this one had the older washer here seems to have more functions in terms of it's got a temperature setting you could control, while this one just has the load size and the timer. But that's not going to be an issue, because when we flip it up, we're going to remove everything besides the pressure hose here. Then all the rest of the wiring from this old washer will be taken out, and this whole console, including the wiring and valves, will be put in. So we're just going to do a complete swap. So that's what I'll be working on now. Alright, the first step to Frankensteining this washing machine is to undo the wiring harness from the previous console. Alright, so I've completely removed the wiring harness from this washer. The only thing I left was this pressure hose, because we'll be using that on our new console, or I should say on the other console. If there's any chance of it working, you do need to make sure that if you're taking off a console that's a 2-speed motor, you need to replace it with the one that's also has a timer that can control a 2-speed motor. And this will be apparent to you by the fact that the plug that goes into the motor right here, it won't plug into a 3-speed motor. There's actual extra connectors that is required for a 3-speed. So this is in my case, I have a 2-speed console that's going to be replacing another 2-speed console, so we're safe there. But yeah, you can see it's just unhooked the entire wiring harness, and I also unhooked. So this is the plugs for, this is the plug that goes to the motor, this is the plug that goes to the motor capacitor, and I also unhooked the ones and the valves all together, because They look pretty gnarly here, and I believe that the valves to my replacement console have a temperature sensor attached to it, so I want to make sure we do everything correct there. So we'll be replacing the entire wiring harness. So yeah, so that's the old one that's gonna come off, and we'll be putting a new one on and see if this thing actually works. I would be really surprised if the new console went on without any sort of, at least the slightest modification needed. I mean, whether that be drilling holes for the water valves to be secured, or some sort of extra plastic that doesn't seem to want to fit in. Oh, before we continue, I will have to take the plug from the lid switch of the previous console and solder it onto this one, because I think I must have used this lid switch on some other repair, because it's just wired together. But we can do that at the end. We'll still be able to see if our project works without the lid switch being fully intact for now. Alright, so far the installation has been going good. Everything was going smoothly up until I got down to where the plugs go for the capacitor. And on some of the models, the capacitor is on this back panel here, but this one, it's attached to the motor down here, so which means these wires need to be longer. So we have two options. Could elongate these wires and run them down here, or we could move this capacitor, just undo that screw there, and maybe just attach it to some holes up here, and do it that way. Let's I think I'm going to undo the capacitor and try to put it up here. If not, I would just extend out the wires. So yeah, so for the capacitor, I actually had to use a nut and bolt to get it onto here, because the screw that it was originally used to attach for this clamp was too small for this hole. So yeah. Alright, so we'll just finish up the rest of this wiring, and we should be good for a test drive here. Alright, so I got the wiring all complete. The harness has been completely replaced. I'm going to give this thing a test now. The only thing that I'll have to do afterwards is we'll take I think I used this connector to make another repair in the past, so this is just bypassing the lid switch for now, so we'll leave that be. Then after I verify that it works, I'll just cut that plug off the old harness and solder it onto this one. Should be fairly easy to do, and let's see how this thing works, or if it works. Alright, so we're ready for a test run here. We've got the washer loaded up with some duct tape delicates. Got the water lines all hooked up back here, connected to the drain setup I got, and we'll be giving it a go here. Settings really don't matter, but alright. Hey, at least water works. So I'll just be showing it to you in stages here. So yeah, it looks like the water valves turn on, and after that it'll start agitating if it's working correctly. So I'll come back in a couple of minutes to see if the water has turned off and it's started agitating. But so far, it's a good first step. Alright, so it's filled up with water, now it's agitating. Yeah, these old Whirlpool machines, man, they're the real deal. Alright, so here's it. So it's successfully going from agitate to neutral drain. So neutral drain tells us that the transmission is working just perfectly, in which the drum itself is stopped, but as you can see, it's draining out the water. Alright, so far this thing's working like a gem. Alright, so successfully has gone to spin. So far it's running perfectly. So the only thing we got to make sure now is that it goes ahead and does the rest of the cycle and comes to off here, and that'll be enough to verify that our Frankenstein washing machine works. Alright, so it has come to a stop, which tells me electronically everything is working okay. So the only thing left to do is take care of that lid switch plug, and yeah, we'll put this back together and see if everything goes smoothly, and clean it up, and should be on its way. Alright, so I guess nothing is never that easy. So it looks like this right here has 3 hooks, and this is designed for 2 of them. But I think we can overcome that by just cutting off this hook right here. Yeah. Well, there still needs to be one more modification, I guess. For this console right here, it screws into this panel to the screws in the back. The previous one there was screws in the front. So what I'm going to have to do is I just went ahead and try to mark where the screws will be by just using my screwdriver like this, and you can see it's marking the bottom of the panel. And so I'm going to drill some holes, and hopefully that should give us enough to secure this console down with some with the screws. All right, nice and snug. All right, the washer's all done. Frankenstein never looked so good, right? Yeah, it's hard to imagine that this is the same washer we started out with. I guess it's almost not, huh? But yeah, it's all cleaned up and it's running right now. And I'm gonna open up the lid right here, and it should stop because I wired up that lid switch, and it did. So it tells me that I wired up everything okay. And we're gonna close it back down. There we go. Now it's got a whole nother life. Hey, hopefully you like this video, and stay tuned for more DIY and tinkering videos.